Before we speak about anything spiritual, let's begin with something simple, something so ordinary, it is often overlooked. You're here, you're breathing, you're still standing. Even if you don't feel strong right now, even if your thoughts feel scattered, even if your heart feels tired, uncertain, or quietly heavy, that alone matters more than you think. There are seasons in life when simply remaining present is an act of courage, not the loud kind of courage that looks impressive to others, but the quiet kind that keeps you here when leaving would feel easier. There are seasons when survival is not passive, it is sacred. And if this is one of those seasons for you, you do not need to minimize it. You do not need to compare it to anyone else's struggle. You do not need to tell yourself, it shouldn't be this hard. This message is not here to diagnose you. It is not here to label your season or define your process. It is not here to rush you into meaning or tell you who you are becoming. It is here to sit beside you quietly while you experience an openness you did not ask for. Because spiritual exposure rarely arrives with permission. It does not ask if you are ready. It does not wait until life is calm. It does not schedule itself for a convenient moment. It often appears in the middle of ordinary days, while you are still working, still functioning, still showing up for others, still holding things together on the outside. And yet, something inside you has shifted. Spiritual exposure does not feel holy at first. It feels uncomfortable. It feels unguarded. It feels like something deeply private has been placed into open air without your consent. There is often a sense of being seen before you feel prepared to be visible, of being touched internally before you understand what is happening. And the instinct is immediate. To cover it quickly, to distract yourself, to toughen up, to analyze it, to explain it away, to return to being fine because fine feels safer than honest. But what if this openness is not a mistake? What if your spirit is not unraveling, but exhaling for the first time in a long while? What if this tenderness is not a problem to solve, but a sign that something heavy has finally been put down? What if what you're feeling is not collapse, but release? Nothing in this space will rush you. Nothing here will pressure you into clarity. Nothing will demand answers, certainty, or strength from you. You are allowed to arrive as you are, not as you should be, not as you used to be, not as others expect you to be, just as you are. Spiritual exposure often comes quietly, not through dramatic breakdowns, not through visible collapse, not through moments that look like failure from the outside, but through a subtle realization that arrives gently and then refuses to leave. I can't pretend anymore. Pretending does not mean lying. It means holding yourself together with effort. It means staying composed while your inner world is shifting. It means performing stability while something inside you is asking to be felt, not managed. It means surviving, but not fully inhabiting your own life. Exposure happens when the soul no longer wants armor once protected you. Armor helped you survive seasons that would have overwhelmed you otherwise. Armor allowed you to function when softness would have been too costly. There is no shame in that. You needed that protection once. It served a purpose. It kept you alive. But armor has weight, and there comes a moment, often without warning, when the soul quietly admits something it has been holding back. I am tired of carrying this, so the armor loosens, not all at once, not recklessly, not in a way meant to harm you, but just enough for air to reach places that have been closed for years. That is why emotions surface unexpectedly. That is why small moments move you more deeply than before. That is why loudness feels unbearable. That is why solitude feels necessary rather than lonely. This is not fragility. This is sensitivity returning. And sensitivity is not weakness. Sensitivity is awareness with the volume turned up. It is perception without numbing. It is truth felt directly, without distance. When you are spiritually exposed, everything feels nearer. Feelings rise faster. Memories feel sharper. Other people's energy feels heavier. Joy feels sweeter. And pain feels louder. This happens because the soul has stopped buffering itself. For a long time, you may have lived one step removed from yourself. Not disconnected, just guarded. Thinking your way through life instead of feeling it. Analyzing instead of inhabiting. enduring instead of arriving. Exposure removes that distance. Now you are inside the experience instead of observing it from behind a wall. And yes, that can feel overwhelming, but it is also honest. You are finally meeting yourself without filters, without performance, without the pressure to immediately improve what you find. Not to judge yourself, not to fix yourself, but to recognize what is true. And truth doesn't always arrive gently. Sometimes it arrives quietly but firmly, refusing to be ignored any longer. But truth never arrives to punish you. It always arrives to heal. Inside spiritual exposure, there's often a quiet fear, not loud, not dramatic. Just this thought, barely spoken. What if I'm seen like this? Not by people. You can always hide from people, but by God, by the divine, by truth itself. Seen without strength, seen without answers, seen without spiritual confidence or certainty. But here's the truth few people tell you. You were never loved for your spiritual performance. You were never accepted because you were clear, faithful, disciplined, or strong. Those things may shape you, they may guide you, they may mature you, but they do not define your worth. Divine love does not recoil from your openness. It does not withdraw when you are unsure. It does not step back when you're tired. It moves toward you. What you call exposure, the divine calls access. Not access to correct you, not access to demand more from you, but access to care for you more precisely. You're not being evaluated. You're being understood. In seasons like this, prayer changes. Words feel insufficient. Scriptures may feel distant. Practices that once felt powerful may feel empty. And that can bring guilt. But silence is not spiritual failure. Silence is spiritual intimacy without translation. There are moments when the soul speaks beyond language, through breath, through tears, through stillness, through simply staying present without explanation. You do not need to explain yourself to the divine. You're already known. Sometimes the holiest thing you can do is stop trying to sound faithful and simply be present. Presence is prayer. Honesty is prayer. Rest is prayer. You may feel less protected now, but protection has not left. It has matured. Before, protection looked like walls. Now, it looks like discernment. Before, it looked like strength. Now, it looks like boundaries. Before, it looked like endurance. Now, it looks like self-respect. Sensitivity does not mean you are exposed to harm. It means you are learning when to stay and when to step back. Wisdom grows quietly, often unnoticed, often without announcement. If you feel spiritually exposed right now, let this settle gently into you. You're not uncovered. You're not unsafe. You're not alone. You are in a tender place, and tender places are where life grows. Nothing is demanding that you harden again. Nothing is asking you to rush. Nothing is disappointed in you. You're allowed to be here, just as you are, just breathing, just existing, and that is enough. Before you leave the space, take one last slow breath. Nothing needs to change immediately. Nothing needs to be decided tonight. Nothing needs to be understood all at once. If you feel a little quieter now, let that quiet stay with you. If you still feel tender, that is okay too. Healing does not always feel like relief. Sometimes it feels like honesty settling gently into the body. Where you are right now is not a wrong place. It is not a setback. It is not weakness. It is a place where a soul is learning to be real, without armor. You do not need to explain this season to anyone. You do not need to rush back into strength. You do not need to harden yourself again to be safe. Move gently after this. Drink some water. Rest. Be kind to your nervous system. And before you go, if this space felt safe for you, you're welcome to subscribe. Not from obligation, not from pressure, but so you can return whenever you need quiet, grounding, and presence. You do not have to engage loudly. Simply being here is enough. You are not uncovered. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. You are being held in a quieter way now. Thank you for trusting this space. Come back whenever you need stillness.